Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you today? Probably thought I fell off the face of the earth. I've been gone for about a week or so. Uh, and let me explain what's been going on. I have been, one, working a tremendous amount of hours, and which is good for the bank account, not so good for free time or time to do much of anything else besides uh, work and sleep. And that kind of, you know, makes for a pretty dull life, honestly. so, but anyway, hopefully that's going to start slowing down. Probably not a lot for the next couple of weeks anyway, but I'm going to try to get caught up on things around here and move forward. Okay. Uh, yeah. So this isn't really a barn chat, or it's just a chat, uh, and I'll get that up to you. I'll probably upload it tonight. Usenet, we're going to do. Yeah, and I'm getting really short on my my anytime hours, or you know, bandwidth. So it gets kind of fun. Let me see if I can adjust this a little better. There we go, a little bit. Anyway, what's been going on? I ran across something just fascinated the heck out of me. I told you where I had seen out there where employers were beginning to get a little iffy on the millennials and the snowflakes a while back, and a company has come up with a test, kind of a profile, psychological profile kind of test, to kind of, it not only weeds out the snowflakes, okay, because if they answer the questions, it kind of points to the direction of where they're at, okay, uh, which the company's using for that reason. Now you hear a lot of, oh, you're going to get sued. Listen, to discriminate against an individual has to fall under the federal guidelines, race, religion, creed, things of this nature. That's pretty much what it has to be. Political viewpoints, tough one to really prove that that's the reason for not hiring somebody. Attitude, would be not you couldn't claim discrimination because the employer didn't much care for your particular attitude. And it also, what I found interesting about their little test was that it was really designed to check your critical thinking. It was an essay form, it was no multiple guess. It was, you had to write out here, what's your feelings about this? Some of the questions I found kind of unique is, when was the last time you cried and for what reason? Okay. Whew, and a lot of different questions like that. How would you handle a customer of ours if you found out that they were being unethical and the company didn't want to be associated with a company doing that unethical business practices? Things of that nature, just to really see how you would function out there in the real live world. But what they found out was that millennials and snowflakes do very poorly on these exams. Um, and I can see where the company was coming from, because the CEO said that, that they were looking to bring on some new people, and that the hiring process was just eating up too many man hours. It was just taking too long. So what they did was devise this test and send it out. If they received your resume, looked through it, thought, okay, this person has potential, the next thing you got back was this test in the mail or email, whatever, that you had to print out, you had to write it out. And they looked for things like grammar, spelling, things of this nature, how well you communicate, just assorted stuff, which could all be used as legally and legitimately to screen employees. And they said to start with, of resumes received, When that test went out, that cut 40% right there out of the loop. Just absolutely out of the loop. Then they kind of went back after that and looked at the grammar and spelling and so forth. If they were almost illiterate, you know, here again, cut them out of the loop. Same thing with how they answered those questions. Okay, that's when they started getting down to the brass tacks, and would only call in the people that they had become impressed with their answers and how they responded to the questionnaire. It's catching on out there, folks. Several companies have now picked up on this exam, large companies. Okay, it's not discriminatory, although millennials and snowflakes thinks it is. They really do because it targets their butts. But the CEO even said they're coming out of these universities with their heads full of nonsense. They don't even understand how the business world works, what their role in that world is going to be, and so forth. And they said that in the past, hiring the millennials has been a huge problem for them because they end up having to go through, and anybody who's worked as an employer and had to terminate employees for any large company can tell you that turns into a nightmare. Okay, just trying to get rid of a bad employee once you discover you have a bad apple. All right, because then you're walking some real fine lines, and you got to make sure all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted, and all the documentation has been put in place, which can drag it out for weeks and months. You know, it's just a pain. So you want to make a good hiring decision. I understand where they're at. I really do. And they're using this exam. And what they found out was millennials and the generation snowflakes just don't do well on this test at all. They said that has been a few exceptions, but for the most part, they fail miserably. Makes you go, oh, really? And the CEO pretty much came out and said, that it's just, the college education they're receiving. Doesn't that make y'all warm and fuzzy inside, parents, that you're paying for this college and they're not preparing your children at all for the real world? And if anything, they're handicapping your children for the real world. Would make one think maybe, maybe we need to look at our education system a little closer, especially our colleges. And, you can make changes at colleges by saying, either you're going to fix this or this is the last semester my child will be here. We'll be transferring to a different school. College gets enough of those notifications from parents. They start looking to make changes. Okay. So, yeah. And now employers are beginning to pick up this test and going, I like it. And it's not discriminatory because they have found that a lot of times especially when you're dealing with recent college grads that don't have much work experience, there you're looking for, attitude, creative thinking, being able to spell, all these fun things that would make for a good employee, and also being able to incorporate them into your style of business and see how they're going to function. But I found it to be absolutely fascinating that the snowflake generation is all screaming, we're going to sue. For what? That you don't fit into a corporation's community? Because that's really what you're doing. You're moving from your little snowflake college community with safe rooms and cookies and Kool-Aid into the real world, and you have to fit into that work community that these people are looking to bring you into. And psychological profiles have been used by companies all over the place. Okay, I personally, through my career, have probably taken 100 of those things. Okay, they are what they are, And if you never hear back from the company, kind of assume that you didn't fit the profile they were looking for, you know. And did somebody maybe less qualified get the job? Yeah, very possibly. But were they really less qualified to fit into that particular work environment? Because that's what those tests are geared to do. Are you the right person for our company? Okay. And honestly, like I said at the onset, discrimination is based on race, religions, creeds, things of this nature. You can't discriminate based on those things. If you want to say I won't hire blue-eyed people, you probably get away with it. I was I was told that in an EEOC seminar that those kind of things you can slide by with. Okay, I just blue-eyed people freak me out, so I don't hire blue-eyed people. Now, if you tried that with brown-eyed people, you might have a problem because you might have the African American group go, wait a minute, that rules all of us out, and that would be discriminatory, and probably they could force that with the report. But to not pass and fit into a company's environment, into their community, they have a right to turn you down, folks. Yeah, they really do. And it is now beginning to affect them. And other companies are looking at this thing going, wow, that's how we can weed out some of these snowflakes. To the snowflake generation and your young millennials, when employers are looking at you as being lazy, non productive troublemakers, not all of you. I'm sure that there's a lot of you out there that don't fit into that category. And so I'm not talking to you. Okay? But if you fit in that category, if that's how your employers are viewing you, you're going to have to sit back and start asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? And what have I shook off all the social justice warrior nonsense that you see in schools? Because it doesn't play out here in the real world. Not really. Okay? Companies bend over backwards to try to be politically correct. But when it comes to their workers, they want people who can think critically, can spell. I was surprised to hear how poorly people did on spelling. You can, before you write that answer out, you could like put it on Word and spell check it. If, really? Spelling? That it would tell me as an employer that you're too lazy to even make sure your spelling was correct. Okay? Which would tell me the attention to detail you would pay in doing my job for me. Seriously. So think about that. And if spelling drops so many of them out, and how hard would it be to sit down, look at the question, type it out in Word, spell check it, grammar check it, edit it if need be, and then transpose that back onto the test because it has to be handwritten. Uh, you know, that shows diligence. Okay, it shows attention to detail, and it shows that you're willing to go the extra effort to to make sure your work is top notch. One of the complaints that a lot of companies were having out there was that the millennials and the snowflake generation they're not maintaining high quality work standards. Okay, it's throw out there whatever. Another thing they've been having problems with is creating strife inside the company. Uh, like one CEO was saying that if you get a complainer in the midst of your employees that always looks at everything and how can we make this better? How can we change this? How can we, how can we? It brings down the morale of the staff. And demoralized people are not productive people. They're not creative people. it creates problems. So that one bad apple can indeed spoil the barrel. So, millennials, snowflakes, word to the wise, better wake up. Your generation is getting tagged, and that's a shame for the good ones. Okay? And hopefully, this test will help with the good ones. Okay? Because if you take time to do due diligence, answer the questions honestly, here again, make sure your grammar and your spelling's been checked, and you're in good shape. Those tests may help you because they have found that some of the millennials and some of the snowflakes who didn't fall into this, social justice warrior nonsense and all this other kind of nonsense out there, you know, seem to do pretty good as employees. And that's what they're looking for, folks. They're looking to see if that college indeed brainwashed you, they don't want you. Okay? You're going to be living in mom and dad's basement because you're going to have a hard time finding a job, especially as this new psychological profile becomes more widely used. It's going to be a problem to you. Anyway, we're going to be working on some new videos. Get up here. I'm going to try to change that up to where I get more out to you folks. Been out looking at some property. Want to get that video out to you. One is way expensive, but has a lot of potential. So we're going to try to get some of those things going for you, and hopefully my work schedule settles down a little bit and things get a little better. Me personally, I'm doing good. Okay, I really am. Just like I said, I've been slow on comments and getting videos up, and that was just because the company went through inventory. That's number one. So getting ready for the inventory and getting the inventory done really ate up a lot of hours. Really did. Now we're through it. We're on the back side of it, and now we're trying to implement a few changes and stuff in the warehouses and so on. So yeah, it's still a little busy. Next few weeks is going to be really crazy. So, but I'm going to start getting more up to you, and snowflakes, take heed out there. And parents, you might want to talk to your snowflakes and let them know you've had your brainwashing now. Shake it off and get ready for the real world because it's going to come at them, and it looks like a lot of employers are looking at this new psychological profiling as a way to go, let's not have to fire them. Let's just not ever hire them. Going to make it tougher in an already tough job market. This is Rich, Tennessee Homestead. Guys, I love you and appreciate you. And like I said, we'll be getting more videos up to you. Matter of fact, I've got several to upload tonight. And we're going to do a house tour of the frat house. Yeah, well, that'd be fun. And things of that nature. So, anyway, we'll be talking to you real soon. And I hope this finds you having an absolutely tremendous week. I mean, here we are, and you'll be seeing this Thursday. I'm actually making it on a Wednesday. So we're halfway through it, folks. And hope you're having a great week. All right, and we'll talk to you real soon. And you have a really great day. Love yous and appreciate you. Take care.